This might be kind of a weird topic, but as someone who was adopted from South America and raised by white people in a very white place, being transracial, that term is a very real thing for me, especially being as pale as I am. I was white passing. I am white passing. And while my parents never hid the fact that I was adopted, they always thought it was this wonderful thing. It was really weird in school. So where I grew up, super, super white. Like, people were able to trace their ancestry back to the Mayflower. Like, that's how white people were, and that's how well they knew their family tree, which made it awkward for when I did my family tree. No. So then I just used my adopted mom's family tree, because if I used my own personal family tree of just, it's like I know my birth mom and my sister and my half sister, and that's kind of it. Now I know more. Not enough though. So when I was, like, we had to do these standardized tests growing up, and it was at a time where they'd be like, give us all your demographic details. And at the time, Hispanic was considered a race. Now it's considered an ethnicity. But the thing was, I knew it. Again, my parents never hid that I was Chilean. It was never a bad thing. It was just a thing. But I never knew what to circle when race came up on the Scantron. And I remember going up to my teacher and being like, hey, what do I circle for race? And they just, oh, Caucasian. I'm like, okay, I'm Caucasian. And then sometime in high school, I found out that I was supposed to be marking Hispanic the whole time, not Caucasian, which was very weird because it was like, oh, well, in my defense, I asked an adult because I didn't know, and they gave me the wrong answer. Almost literally everyone else in the school, except maybe like 3 kids, if you include like all the grades at that time. Yeah. Maybe 4 if you include the staff. Yeah, I know, a real diverse place I grew up in. And so the concept of being transracial does resonate with me because I have some Hispanic features, but I've never really felt Hispanic. I've known I was Chilean, but I've never really felt Chilean. I mean, I think the closest has been looking up the average height because I'm pretty short. And then I go, but not in my country. A newsflash, I'm a little short for my country too, but not nearly as short as I am in America. So the concept of transracial resonates with me because I feel more like a white person than I think I'll ever really feel as a Hispanic person, which kind of sucks because Chile and Mapuche, they have very rich cultures, and I really want to learn more about them, and that's what I'm doing with my move to Chile. I'm hoping to learn the languages, both of them. I don't know how far I'll get with with the Mapuche language. I'll get far with Spanish, because everyone speaks it down there. I'm hoping to learn at least something other than in Mapuche, other than, I know the language isn't called Mapuche. It's something like Mapuduan. I'm not saying that right. But yeah, because I mean, I'm white passing in a lot of places. It's very interesting because people who aren't white, they'll say, you don't look white. And I'm like, everyone else thinks I look white. So I've noticed minorities seem to be better at picking out minorities, and white people are awful at it. I've had a number of people go, oh, are you Italian? And I'm like, no, I'm not Italian at all. And I have the DNA test to prove no Italian in me. It's all Iberian Peninsula, which is like Portugal and Spain, and then Chile, and then Mapuche, which is the Chile-ish region. Anyway, the point is, I think being transracial is a very real thing. I think it's not like that lady who decided she was going to be black and pretended she was black. That's not how I see it. How I see it is like kind of your culture and how you're raised. And I think while Hispanic people can look at me and go, oh yeah, she's Hispanic, they spend any time with me, they'll go, oh no, she's white. She's so white. Because I just don't have those cultural experiences. It's so weird because it's like there isn't like a white culture, because that just kind of blankets over all Europe for the most part. But white people do act differently than minority groups. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that when you can pass as white, you can just kind of float under the radar and people don't really know. But when there's something very distinct about you that says other, then you almost have to find other people who look like you or in similar situations, because us as humans, we want community. We bond over similarities. And the flip side of bonding over similarities is we tend to other people. Basically, oh, you're not in our group. If you're not with us, you're against us. And even though you haven't said you're against us, we've decided you're against us because you don't worship the way we do, or your skin is a different color, or I feel like it's very rare that it's like, oh, your personal values and your personal personality. It's because the thing is that would get into too much nuance, and humans just want something simple. So they'll go, you look different. We hate you. And they're just like, can't do anything about that. But as a result, it's almost like there's a mainstream kind of culture that's just kind of generic and expected. And then there are the different pockets of community that have formed because if you can't float under the radar, if you can't be white passing, you're going to deal with a lot of unnecessary systemic BS. And so you create or join a community that is going to help protect you from, as much as they can, from that systemic racism. And I mean, I grew up white. I grew up with a bunch of white people. I thought I was Caucasian until high school. And that was only because my high school was so small. We had another town join our high school, because I guess we need two towns. Our town had our own elementary school and middle school, but for high school, I don't know where the kids went. So there were people from the other town. And again, there was absolutely that, because everyone was like, oh, well, you're not from our town. You're other. We don't like you. We're more refined and proper than you are. There really was that attitude. And yeah, I had a bit of that attitude as well. And then I became friends with someone because of Anime Club, and she happened to be Hispanic in a Hispanic family. And friendship didn't last past high school. There were a number of things going on, but that was kind of my first intro into being Hispanic and Latina, and just witnessing that community and that closeness and everyone in everyone's business. And it was really cool, just because I came from a very stereotypical nuclear family. There's the mom, the dad, the 2.5 kids, the white picket fence. We didn't have a white picket fence, but also there were no half children. But yeah, so we didn't have that super closeness. And so just seeing that contrast was very interesting, and how cooking was a big thing that everyone just did. And obviously they don't speak for all Hispanic families out there, but just that being my only real insight into that culture. It was at like at the same time, like fascinating, which probably isn't a great thing for it to be. Like, it was like a feeling of feeling closer to my culture, and also a reminder of how far away I am from my culture, which is kind of a weird thing. It's a weird spot to be in, because it's like awesome, but it's also like a reminder of, hey, you're not this, but you could have been this, but we don't actually know. Yeah, all of that to say, I think transracial is very much a thing. And unlike that lady who decided she was randomly black and was going to head up a black organization, you don't get to choose, Like, I've tried to wear dresses. I just don't like them. I don't like dresses. I've tried skirts. I don't like skirts. I like pants. It's just like, it is what it is. You can't do all that much about it. If I was adopted to a Hispanic family, I probably would identify as Hispanic, but I was raised as a white person. And it wasn't through Oh boy. It wasn't through anything intentional with my family. They were never like hiding anything. But they also didn't treat me like some like exotic prop, you know, which I very much appreciate. They weren't like, oh, you're Hispanic, you must love spicy foods, or anything. They just treated me like I was normal. And so I adapted to normal, and that normal was being very white. So, yeah, again, it's not something you can choose. We'll see how I feel after I move to Chile, and who knows, maybe I'll feel Hispanic after a while. As far as right now, it's more of an intellectual, I know I'm Chilean, but I don't feel Chilean. I feel white. Very, very, very white. And my pale skin does not help. I don't burn, though. Bye.